Geo, AI search, AEO, zero click. It's got a numerous or a plethora of different names. But is this actually a new industry? Is it a new category, or is it just a PR job for what is SEO essentially?
Yeah, good question. Thanks for having me on the show too, Jonathan. This is really cool. Feels really good to be here. Love kind of, my day job is really talking and I guess educating brands and people on where we're at within SEO and then where we're heading within AI search. I feel like, there's so many acronyms being used these days around, GEO, AEO, where we're heading, what does it mean? Is SEO dead? And for me, I see AI SEO as like the next evolution of search. And you mentioned PR too, and PR has now become quite important within AI because how the way that a brand is being spoken about within AI can be influenced by the public narrative. So
what's the difference if you go, here's SEO, here's AI SEO or derivative of? What's the difference in your view?
I would say AI SEO is around 80% the same as traditional SEO, but it's this extra 20% that has been now included that wasn't included before. And it's like a cake. You've got kind of like your traditional kind of standard cake, and then there's been another layer that's been added on top, which is kind of the AI SEO component. But you wouldn't just eat that layer on its own. You still want to eat the whole cake. And so,
what do you mean by that? So your foundation is great SEO, and then you've got additional layers. Is that what you're...
Correct. And what we're finding too is like brands that are doing well in AI search have all the foundational SEO elements already in place. So their website structure might be great. They've got tons of content on their site that's talking about different areas and targeting different keywords already. They've got good UX, they've got good technical foundations. They've already ticked a lot of those boxes that brands should have ticked in the last sort of 5 years. So as AI search kicks in, they've already got those layers there, and then it's just about adding those additional layers on top. But I speak to brands where they'll reach out and they'll be wanting to look at AI search, but my first recommendation to them will be, well, you haven't actually done your foundational work first. So we need to do the foundational work first, and then we're building on it. So so brands that are, succeeding, if we're seeing brands that are succeeding within AI search now already, they've already got some of those foundational elements in place, and they've been taking care of their SEO for the last sort of 5 to 10 years.
So what's the top 3 things in the additional layer then? Like you need great SEO. So that's foundation. It doesn't sound like there's shortcuts. You still need that. What would be the 3 things in the additional layer?
Yeah. So the first thing is topical authority. So, and what that is has a brand, because there's all these different ways that people search for a particular thing or item or, product category or, service. And so there's all these different ways that people will search for a particular thing. Now, brands, and then with AI search, it's added on this whole personalization aspect where, instead of someone searching for, like for instance, I'll give an example. We had a brand reach out to us recently that does hair transplant. And they've been doing hair transplants for 30 years or 40 years in Australia. Everyone would have seen their TV ads for the last sort of 2 decades. And the way they found us as an SEO agency is they used ChatGPT to help them write the brief for what they needed for their SEO project and what they wanted to achieve. And then once they had written that brief, they actually put that brief into ChatGPT and said, recommend me an agency that can support with this exact brief. And so it was much more, the personalization to that obviously is huge. And the way that then brands need to tackle searches like that is start to have content that relates to all the different things that, or speaks to all the different ways that people search. And one of the ways we do that is is, so we're obviously an SEO agency. We have a lot of industry pages on our site. So we'll have, SEO for law firms, SEO for, dentists, for, hospitality businesses. Because the way people search in ChatGPT is they'll say, oh, I'm looking for an SEO agency that specializes in SEO for hospitality business. Where 3 years ago, the way that people search was, I'm looking, they would just say SEO agency Melbourne. That was it. And so now that we obviously had our location pages targeting SEO agency Melbourne, but now we've got industry pages that are targeting that
That's a traditional long tail.
Correct. Yeah. And it's basically that topical authority map where you're kind of mapping out all the different ways that people may search for your brand and then building content around that. So you've got content that matches all those searches. And then you start to build your topical authority within your space.
You mentioned topical authority.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people going, well, like Reddit. Reddit was over-indexing and then it sort of changed. And then you've got YouTube, you've got digital PR using known publications. Like, is this something you're seeing over-index? Like, what are you seeing right now?
Totally. And I guess, the second thing we could say is like the whole you've got your topical authority, content mapping, and then you've got your brand building, your offsite content. What I've been saying a lot to brands is 5 years ago, offsite content, it was all about the content you had on your site and then a little bit about the content off your site. Now it's like you could almost say it's 50-50.
Yeah, right.
You got like 50% focus on the content on your site and then 50% focus on the content off your site. Because what we're finding in AI search too, I was speaking with a underwear brand recently, and within a branded search for their brand within AI, there was a Reddit answer being pulled, and someone was actually talking really negatively about the brand and saying the quality of the product's really poor. And whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Actually, it's that there is some random person on Reddit that is now within your brand, within an answer of your branded search. And, we don't even know who that person is. And we don't even know if they've actually used that product. They may not have even used that product. And so it's pretty, this whole kind of, the second thing is this whole offsite strategy. And that's where it's becoming quite complex. And, what are people saying on Reddit? How is your brand being spoken about on publications like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, what about reviews being made on, there's a lot of obviously reviews on YouTube, whether it's for cars, I'm looking at buying a new car, there's so many reviews on YouTube, that's all getting pulled into AI search about, BMW, Audi, Mercedes. So when you actually search for branded keywords for, say Mercedes, Audi in particular, there's actually, a ton of content that gets pulled in from YouTube that's actually not, it's not created by Audi, it's just created by different YouTubers. Where 3 years ago, that just wasn't the case because AI search didn't exist.
It feels like we're going through this real step change right now as people adopt whatever their platform is, whether it's Claude, whether it's Chat, whether it's Perplexity. But what are you seeing your side in terms of the difference in traffic? Like historically, traffic was a pretty good proxy and that would flow through, whereas we're starting to see a decline in your organic traffic or your typical or traditional SEO. What are you seeing your side?
Yeah, this is like, I guess, the big question. I think, where we're heading, and it's getting harder to attribute as well. Like that whole kind of user journey funnel, typical funnel. I saw a stat 5 years ago for B2B businesses where it was like on average, someone touches, 14, they have 14 touch points across your business before they actually convert. And I think that's quite an old stat. And I feel like today it's times, I don't even know, because it's very hard to measure and track AI search activity. And even within Google, ChatGPT, Claude, they don't even have, they're not even showing you the activity or the usage. I think Bing recently within their webmaster tools just recently released some form of performance activity measurement within their tool, but everyone else doesn't. It isn't showing anything. So you've got this kind of new way that people are searching, and it's getting billions and billions of searches, a week, if not a day. And it's growing, times 3, times 4, times 5. I think Claude usage, 18 months ago was, I saw a stat where it was like Claude usage in the last sort of, I think not even 18 months ago, it was like 6 months has gone from, 20 times or something astronomical.
So what have you seen a drop in organic traffic, like traditional SEO? Like is that 10, 20%? What have you seen in your clients?
Like it depends on niche and industry. I think what I'm seeing is that in today's world, you have to be ranking top 2. If you're not ranking
You're talking SEO now?
Yeah, SEO. Like if we're just talking traditional SEO, if like 3 to 4 years ago, if you were ranking position 5, you still actually got a decent amount of clicks. If I'm just talking B2B businesses, you still got a decent amount of clicks, and you still got a decent amount of inquiries coming through. But now if you're ranking position 5, you actually the clicks coming through traditional search are way less, and you have to be ranking top 2. If you're ranking top 2 though, or top 3, the inquiries coming through and the clicks may be decreasing, but the inquiries are still there. The conversions are still there. And that's what we're seeing is across some niches, traffic is dropping, but conversions are not dropping. So, and that's where that AI search is eating. If you look at kind of that top, mid, and bottom of funnel searches, AI search is definitely eating into that top and some mid, but then bottom of funnel is still holding within traditional search.
Yeah, my view is you should see conversion go up, but traffic metrics, especially from organic and even paid, will start to decline. Like it's really interesting. I bought a couch. I got 3 little people. I got 7-year-old twins and a 4-year-old girl, and like they're pretty grubby at the best of times. But like it was interesting. Like I was after a stain-proof couch because I think this is the 3rd couch we've bought in 7 years or whatever it may be. They just destroy them.
Wow.
But I went straight to like Claude. I use Claude. Claude is very much my go-to. And it was really interesting. It was like stain-proof, washable couch. It was actually prompted by a billboard. And I was just like, washable couch. I couldn't actually remember who was on the billboard, but I was like, I absolutely need one of those. I literally put the same prompt in on over a dozen occasions. And the really interesting thing was this, that every time it populated with the same 2 brands, but the 3rd one was like in rotation. Like it was like a different brand that it started to pull in.
Yes.
So I was like, same prompt, different time horizon, but different outcome. I think this is one of the challenges with measurement.
Yes.
Is that every time you search at a different moment, you'll actually get a different response. But the interesting thing, probably linking back to your top 2, if you're 1 or 2, you're pretty safe, but that 3rd may vary. So it's like you nearly need to be number 1 or 2 authority in that space to index. Whereas if you're 4, 5, 6, 7, you may show up every now and again. Is that what your experience is?
Yeah, it's like you're coming back to that topical authority. Like you got to be the authority in your topic. And the way to do that is like, the content spread, offsite optimization, building a brand, and then you've got all your traditional SEO elements that support all that. But yeah, it's the personalization and the changes in AI search is happening all the time. And, I've done a lot of tests where I'll do the exact same search in AI mode in Google over the course of like 2 to 3 minutes, and the results are actually different. And they may not be 100% different, but they may be about 30 to 40% different, where within traditional search, it's actually not the case.
So for those following along at home, like a trend we may see is it seems like the breadth and depth of what would be SEO is expanding.
Yes.
Awesome, I have AI tools that can do it for me. Like, why wouldn't I just bring AI or SEO in-house and just have this content machine? Like a programmatic SEO or that style of content. Like, why would you do that, or what should you be doing?
Totally. And I think there's a lot of talk at the moment online around automations, Claude doing your SEO. I've seen like posts on LinkedIn where it will say, forget a 30-person SEO agency, just use Claude. Here's the 5 skills. Comment skills, and I'll send you, the 5 skill downloads, and it's just not the case. Like, you can't. AI is just not there yet to be able to automate SEO, and I don't think it ever will be. I think that AI doesn't have context. It's not the best strategic thinker. It can't manage, relationships. It doesn't take accountability either. If results aren't good, what's AI going to do? Like, is it even going to apologize? Like, it's just going to be there. And I think that's where, where we're heading is we're going to be able to use AI to support with, delivering work, whether it's SEO or really any kind of service, whether it's, I've been using AI a lot for legal support, and I was at this talk recently, and someone was saying that they've driven down their legal costs because they're using ChatGPT to review contracts, and ChatGPT is actually really good at reviewing contracts. So I think like we're moving to an era where AI will be able to support with some of the delivery work and optimization work for websites, but that human strategy, relationship, account management, prioritization, some of the implementation, like, is still going to be quite heavily, relied upon by a human.
Yeah.
I think
I'm seeing this shift. Like, you got creative. There's people bring creative in-house using AI.
Yeah.
It's the same with SEO. It's the same with media buying. It's looking at all the verticals and where are the opportunities. Now, it's really interesting. I think you get an efficiency and speed outcome with AI, and that's really what the enterprise value is for it. It's fast, and I can deliver huge volume.
Yeah.
But back to the point, if you want to be the number one, number two, there's no strategic thought. There's no authority, because all AI or LLMs do is scrape information. It's just an advanced search machine. It doesn't actually create or think on its own.
No.
It just scrapes more to create further context or depth of content.
That's
so
right.
unless you're creating original, great content that solves problems that it will index,
That's right.
rather than just scraping some content that is already existing in the World Wide Web, like, you're not going to win the SEO or the AI search game. Is that your view?
100%. Because even going back to your previous question, like, it's, if you just rely on AI to do your SEO or to do this or to do that, you don't actually get very far. And like we all know, like, especially if you're a specialist in your field, you'll see the answers that AI gives and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's not right. Or actually that part of that answer is not relevant. Like, and you kind of take a couple of parts, but you never trust the full answer because you know that it's missing, X, Y, Z that you need to achieve results. So I think like, and I've had questions where, brands will reach out and they'll be like, so like, can I do this in-house? And it's like, well, can you rely on AI to grow your business? Like, no,
Do you
like
think
you still
the in-housing
need.
piece, like video content becomes more important now?
Yes.
Do you think there's part where you got the strategic oversight from an agency, but then if you got in-house resources for video content or production, and you can own that machine again, looking at efficiency, do you think there's going to be this hybrid blend of AI search where brands will bring more of that engine room in, but then they'll have the strategic oversight?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, I think that some brands, like major companies, whether it's like global companies like Nike, will bring some of that in-house. But then global companies like Nike, they've got SEO teams of 15, 20 people or whatever, 10 people already in-house. So I think like I think that brands will bring more, whether it's SEO or whatever services, more in-house, but they're still going to need agency support, whether it's, video strategy, whether it's paid, whether it's SEO, to really kind of, if they've got targets of a 40% lift year on year, or whatever it is, it's like, well, who's accountable? Who's responsible for that? Who's actually going to build the strategy for that? Like, because if a in-house marketing manager goes, okay, my CMO's telling me I've got a goal of 40% lift. And then if they rely on AI to do that, and at the end of the 12 months, they've gone backwards or they've got a 2% lift, they can't then go round to their boss and say, oh, I used AI, but yeah, we're going to blame AI, because the CMO is going to come to them and say, well, you're actually accountable. Like, you're responsible. No, AI is never going to be accountable or responsible.
I think this is a different topic of conversation, the outsourcing, in-housing. And I think it's very cyclical. We've had a big cycle of in-housing. I still think that's got a little bit to go. I actually think that'll do a 180.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool.
It's very cyclical.
Yeah. So you think it will go...
Well, people go in-house because it's usually a CFO or someone that goes, oh, why am I paying an agency 20 grand a month or whatever it may be, and I can hire 2 or 3 people and I own them, and they're just working on us. Now, the challenge is no one can actually mark their homework. They're marking their own homework, so they're flying blind as an organisation. So they can go 2-3 years, and if you've made bad hires, you don't know until someone actually critiques it, and it's like, wow, we are so off track. Yeah, something's broken. It's not until and it's the same with creative. It's the same with media. Yeah. I've seen and lived it so many times, 2, 3, 4 years. People are going, we're not winning, but we have a really large in-house team. Why aren't we winning? Yeah. But then it will rotate back out. Now, it's not to say that in-housing doesn't work. Some have cracked the code and they absolutely crush it, and you'd never change that model. But I'd probably say 70-80% of the market, they will go through in-housing, outsourcing, agency partner, or hybrid. But I do think it's very cyclical, and I still think we'll see further in-housing, but I also see that will cycle through back to getting more specialists. So I think there's very much a blend.